What's good? What's good, y'all? So week 10 is officially in the building, and we welcome you in to that week's edition of the 4th and 1 podcast. I am your co-host, Coach Trey, and with me is still a cameraless, but not any has nothing to do with the fact that he's still handsome and wonderful. Rusey. Rusey, how are you feeling?
Hi guys. Happy Friday, happy November, happy upcoming election week. Hey now, we're here.
listen, bro. It's been a week for me. I've been out of town, literally since Monday. I've been working a conference for work. Unbelievable. Sorry, guys. I've been working a conference out of town, literally all week long. I don't even know what day it is. I got down there in October, and now it's November 1st. So I really don't even know what to say other than the fact that I have nothing on my mind other than college football. We had to go a day late. We apologize for that. I just wanted to let everyone here know that we are officially, and I mean officially into nothing but college football time. There is no more World Series. There is no more. We don't even want to talk about the World Series right now, but whatever. 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 We don't have to talk about it. It's officially college football only. You should have no other thing to watch. Nothing else. There's nothing else that you should be watching on Saturdays other than college football. And so we have so much to talk about tonight. But I guess we have to start with what's already happened. So I'm actually going to flip this to you, bro, because we have not talked about this yet. But go ahead and give me some of your thoughts.
Yeah.
Woo, boy. Go ahead. I'll mute. I'll listen.
I've been all over the island on this one. Initial reaction when I watched the game, I was heavily intoxicated. So I had to go rewatch and dig into what really happened. And I've been all over the place. Part of me wants to try and find any way I can to not pin this on us and the special teams. And I did find some areas of concern, but all in all, it's a game that we dominated and maybe you can consider it 2.5 quarters of football. I don't think they were the better team. I think mistakes, like I said in the previous episode, were going to dictate this game for LSU, and they certainly did. Left so much on the table. Unfortunate. This is where game one comes back to haunt you. A much tougher team in A&M compared to USC. I mean, you just can't. I understand everyone's trying to defend us, and as they should. In my opinion, those two, there were 3 interceptions. 2 of them resulted basically in pick sixes. And no way will I tolerate any slander of the defense. The defense was put in horrible situations all night, and the offense, for what it was mowing down the first half. So I really do truly think it comes down to those 2 plays. The special teams didn't help. Costly mistakes there. Several points left on the board. The change in quarterback for A&M definitely didn't help the defense. But all in all, I still think a lot of that was due to being put in horrible situations. So it's frustrating when you're the better team. I prefer to just get our asses kicked, but that's all I've got to say. It's hard to not pin it on those 2 really considered pick sixes, in my opinion, and the special teams. I think it's hard not to blame those 2 things, but that's where I've landed, So, and it looks like Trey is.
I'm here, but it seems as though I've lost camera ability. I'm not exactly sure why that has happened.
There he is.
We'll make that stop happening. I'm going to go ahead and say a couple of things that I agree with. I agree that, there's if you're going to be in the camp of this doesn't fall on one person, I'm with you because I don't think it's on one person either. But the amount of blame can't be shared evenly. And that's kind of where I've landed. I you not being I'll start it this way. You not being prepared for a quarterback.
Hello? Did we lose Trey or did we lose me here? Not sure if we lost Trey or if it's me.
Are we good or is it me?
Oh, I think your camera's frozen on my screen. I don't know if it's me or not.
Oh no, dude. It might be me. Hold on now. I'm going to fix this up. I'm not exactly sure. We apologize for the technical difficulties, guys. We're actually
In a
contrary.
storm.
But well, I was gonna say there's no real way to explain this other than the fact that this is unfortunately what we are dealing with, a storm.
I think
Okay,
we're good now. We're good now.
okay.
Okay, so yeah, preparing for the quarterback switch, I think is
If you're
where
not, if we're not preparing for a quarterback switch in any college football game is a crime. It's a sin. I can't believe that they openly admitted that in the post-game press conference. But I think that if you're not going to be prepared, it's malpractice. However, I think equal blame is to be shared, right? Like, I think equal blame is to be shared in, say, bro, like I had the game plan ready to go. It was working. And then whenever they put the other quarterback in, they put him in on an 8-yard drive. And it's like, what better drive to get a backup quarterback in and get his confidence up than when you throw a stupid, careless pass on your side of the field? And so I think there was a lack of focus. I think there was a lack of discipline. And I don't think that they would have been able to go the length of the field in that first drive. And even if they did, we won't know. But there's mistakes that can happen on a 75-yard drive versus an 8-yard drive. Like I can't.
Oh, you're on mute now, I think. Oops. Well, having technical difficulties again. Coach Trey is on a new laptop, so we're going through it this weekend, especially with the bad weather. Probably doesn't help. So let me see. Let's see. So let's just put maybe a bow tie on this LSU talk. I think we're a little bit on two different stances. I still, given everything that went on, I don't think it's fair to put a lot of blame on them. I do think it was bad not being prepared for that situation, but all in all, we've got to put it behind us. Lots of stuff going on with Alabama coming in next week and really controlling your own destiny. At this point, it kind of just comes down to win out, maybe hopefully be the third team in the conference. But yeah, so let's just move on from that. I mean, we have a huge week of college football going on right now. Number 15 Boise State's playing San Diego State. Ashton Johnson, his Heisman watch is dropping a little bit. I believe Travis Hunter is now the new number one favorite, followed by Dylan Gabriel, and then Cam Ward, and then himself. So he is now the fourth place in odds. But I mean, it's very close this year. I think any big game can kind of win it for the next coming Heisman. I think Boise State can go undefeated. And if Jonte can just put together a few games here, he can definitely make that work. Back here we have Coach on the phone having some technical diffs. I was breaking down kind of the Heisman race. If you wanted to comment on any of that, given where we are in the season and given that Ashton has has taken a small dip in odds. However, it's just extremely close from all perspectives given. So don't know if you can hear me or not, but okay. So yeah, given all of that is going on, oops, we are just having technical
That is
difficulties.
a crime.
Okay, you're good on your phone here.
Yeah, we should be fine, right?
Yeah. So yeah, Ashton being number 4 is I mean, to me, I don't agree with it. Obviously, I'm biased. I have money on him. He's I mean, he's got he hasn't rushed for less than 127 yards this year, and I just don't see how it can't be his this year. I really don't. I think they're going to go undefeated. He's got 1,300 yards on 159 carries. That's 8.7 yards a carry. He's got 18 touchdowns, and that's just rushing. He's got 12 catches for 50 yards receiving. I get Travis Hunter is a two-way player. I get that Cam Ward and Dylan Gabriel are undefeated transfer quarterbacks leading their respective programs to where they are today. I just think we are on the brink of something historic happening here with Ashton Jonty. I hope that resonates with the committee. Odds are odds. So I think he's still very valuable at where he is. Trey, thoughts on, let's just jump right into it, the big game of the weekend, which is Ohio State, Penn State, number 4 versus number 3. Ohio State's a field goal favorite on the road. Thoughts, concerns? Where are you at on this game?
No, and I apologize for the technical difficulties, guys. I've not only gotten a new computer, but a new tablet here, a new iPad for work. So all of my software is having to like update itself, and it's annoying the crap out of me. But anyway, so I actually don't hate the line more so as I hate the way this always goes. We don't really have a good feeling with Penn State. Coach Franklin in these big games, they seem to always go one way. I'm not entirely certain that, we could be, overstating the fact that they just don't. There's nothing about that team that makes me feel like they can put Ohio State in a stranglehold or a chokehold, like Oregon and Spots was able to do. I would not be surprised if there was a mistake-ridden quarter or a mistake, even a lesser than exciting half of ball from either team, because we remember this game last year, right? And it feels like an Ohio State should win type of game. The line's at 3. I'm pretty sure it's at like, is it 46 or 40? Did you see the total on it? What it was? I don't have it written down.
46.5 is the total.
Okay, that's what I figured. I wouldn't really mind the under. I mean, I don't think the under is a horrible play. I don't know, man. I think Ohio State's the better football team.
I agree.
I'm not going to make that hard.
11 a.m. So, like, Tyler Warren, I will say, is a pretty damn good X factor.
Sure.
He had, I don't know if you saw the game he had against USC, but this dude is
buckets.
6'6", 257, 17 catches for 224 yards.
He's playing with a freaking basketball.
I think there were they were showing some highlights of him in high school dunking. Freak athlete. I think that's a bright spot for them. I think their rush game is solid. I am concerned, I will say, for Ohio State here. I just don't know. I don't know. Like, they've had one of the weirder seasons I've seen. Obviously, they've handled their business, from the start until Oregon. Then you lose a really heartbreaking game on the road, but then you have a bye week and you host Nebraska, who, I get it. They're 5-3, 5-2 at the time. they're a solid team, but you struggle to the finish line against them, only winning 21-17. I just don't like that confidence going into this game. Penn State is undefeated. To me, I think they've had some nail biters themselves. I don't know, man. This is tough because Oregon's a different team. Oregon's gonna kill you offensively compared to like Oregon. I don't know if Penn State's gonna do that the same thing, but I think they've got a way better defense. So I would say the under is a pretty solid place, but I'm going to take Penn State to win this game.
Wow.
I think they're average. I think they're good enough to win in this spot, and I didn't know that games are sick, but still, 11 a.m. is pretty sick for them too. I just don't trust Will Howard. Hopefully he proves me wrong. I'm in no way trying to make any claims that, my preseason pick of Penn State being up here is here. I'm not like backing off of that. I think they're still an average team. I think their defense is just very elite. Can Ohio State, break through and win this game? Possibly, but in such a close game, you got to give me the home team here. And I just think it's unfortunate because Ohio State's going to be one of those teams in the playoffs that's just going to be so live to win any game. So this, as far as for the playoff perspective, I hope they win this game. But that team is going to be so live as a maybe a double digit seed or whatever they may land at. They're going to be so live when we get there. So, but give me Penn State, man. I just think the home field advantage is going to be too much.
Does a 2-loss Big Ten team look and get valued the same as a 2-loss SEC team?
I don't think you can look at it by saying how you did. I think you've got to call them Ohio State. Ohio State, if they're a 2-loss team, I still think it depends who you compare them to. If you compare them to LSU, I think Ohio State is way better than LSU this year.
What about A&M?
I don't know. I really don't know because I thought LSU outplayed A&M until the very end there.
What about Georgia?
Georgia is a very good comparison. I think Georgia is better.
What about Tennessee?
No.
All right.
I think LSU and Tennessee are on the same wavelength as far as that. I mean, they're good. They're going to be live. Like they can win. Will they? I mean, if out of the teams you just gave me, I'd give Georgia, then Ohio State, and then whatever order you want to put Tennessee, LSU in, and then A&M. Honestly, on neutral fields, I'd probably put A&M last.
Okay. The only reason why I ask is because we are getting into the witching hour with this kind of thing. It's actually going to play right into who I want to talk about next, and that's Ole Miss. I think
still live, by the way.
Still live, and I think that there's something to be said for a team that's got wins down the stretch. And if you were to be a 2-loss team, you don't want your second loss to come at the end of the year, right? You want your second loss to come before you've got the opportunity to play some more games and, build a little bit more momentum back up, obviously redeem yourself a bit, win while everybody else loses instead of lose while other people wins, because it does matter when you lose. It doesn't, there's no like bar that's going to keep you. I mean, outside of like 1, 2, and 3, there's no bar that's going to keep a team, like there's no ceiling rather that they can't punch through by being a 2-loss football team. Like if they were to, if Ohio State were to lose their first 2 games, but by the 10th game of the season and they're on an 8-game win streak, you already know how this goes. Like they're going to be ranked based on where they are at that point, not, the other way around. So I think it'll be interesting to see. I'll close the show later on, with my follow-up thoughts of LSU, since I kind of blacked out there for a second with the connection. But I do want to get into Ole Miss and Arkansas. You and I disagree on the Ohio State Penn State game. I think that'll be a pretty interesting one to find out. I don't think it's going to be an exciting game to watch. It almost never is.
Never is.
As you remember, we tried to do it last year, but one that I think could get a little bit interesting is is Ole Miss going on the road to Arkansas at 7.5. And the reason why I think that this game might get interesting is because I don't think that Arkansas is done fighting. Ole Miss has their back against the wall. They have everything to play for. I don't think Arkansas has any anticipation or any, I guess, indication, I should say, that they are going to just lay down and die. I think that they want to ruin somebody's season. And why not Ole Miss for them? 7.5 points is the spread. 54.5 is a total. I wouldn't mind taking Arkansas on a 10-point teaser and parlaying that with, that under in that Ohio State Penn State game like we talked about. I don't think that Ole Miss is, unbelievably great on the road, and I also think that Arkansas is an annoying place to play. So I would take a really strong look at this one.
Game time weather has thunderstorms.
Sure.
Both teams' ground games are pretty solid. With a total of 54.5, I wouldn't mind a shot at the under there as well.
Okay.
I don't really care. Is that wrong for me? Like, I just don't really care to even pick a spread. I think Ole Miss, while they're alive, while we gave them credence on that, you look at their schedule. Yeah, Georgia's there next week. It's a home game. Don't get me wrong. I don't see them really winning that game. So, like, to me, I don't really care. I think, like, if they go out and compete and win by a couple touchdowns against Arkansas, I just really don't care. Like, that's like, we're at that point in the season, right? Like, I just think there's better 2-loss SEC teams to talk about, or just better SEC teams to talk about. And I thought you were going to segue into it, but I guess I will with A&M. What are your thoughts on the spread this weekend? If you haven't looked, can you tell me what you think it is against South Carolina on the road?
I thought that it would have been closer to a touchdown, but I do think that has it come off of 3?
It's 3 right now.
Okay.
I mean, to me, that's crazy. That's just crazy to me.
No, I don't think so.
South Carolina, to me, has been one of the most bipolar teams in the conference this year. They'll give you really good glimpses of, like, oh my God, this is a pretty damn good football team. Like they did against Oklahoma, 35-9. Like they did against Alabama, 27-25. But then they give you Ole Miss, 27-3. Got their butts kicked.
Right.
Against LSU, good game. And then against Old Dominion, 23-19. So, like, they've given you just nothing but inconsistency all year long. A&M's coming off a huge win. It's a big let-off game. I get it. But the thing is, we've talked about let-off games before. I think the let-off game might come somewhere further down the line, like against Auburn, when they have Texas, probably one of the games of the year, being at the end of the month. So I really don't think this is going to be a let-off spot. I don't know what their quarterback situation is. Have they outright said who the quarterback's going to be? Are they running with the backup from last week? I don't know.
They would be They would be absolutely, positively foolish to run Connor Wegman back out there as a starter. I mean, it is, again, Marcel Reed comes in as if anyone was shocked that he came in. I thought that they would have ran some more Wildcat with him early on to try to get something going. The offense is unbelievably easy to stop with Connor Wigman because he's not consistent. So did he start in the short field? Yes. Did that have something to do with it? That the other team literally had a quarterback that was playing his worst game of his career? Also, yes. Doesn't matter, dude. You don't have less to defend with Marcel Reed. You have so much more to defend with Marcel Reed. But I do like the front. I do like that front for South Carolina, dude. I don't think it should be 3. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it should be closer to like 6. I don't think it's crazy because I think it's a classic letdown spot, and I think Vegas knows that, and I think sharp money has gotten this number to be that. But I think 43.5 was interesting. But Texas A&M is the better football team. I think that they are going to win, but it is a classic look ahead spot.
Yeah, I mean, I will walk it back a little bit now thinking about it. Marcel Reed in the whole game, I think
That's why the number is weird too, because I don't think Vegas knows who's starting.
I think it's weird. I give him his flowers for how he performed. I get it. 2 for 2, 70 yards, 9 carries, 62 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I think with a team that does prepare for him, he, is it difference? Like you said, the front seven for South Carolina is very good. They will have time to prepare for him, and he has to go full lengths of the field in order to succeed. So I think you are right. I take it back. I think they can be one-dimensionally, stopped if all they've got is a run game and you make that kid throw consistently, maybe 15 to 20 times a game. How does that play out? So I guess you're right. I take it back. I do think that's probably the right spot, I think. Now looking at it, and it's a home game for South Carolina, I take it back. I mean, like I said, we look at these things over together. You really got to think about some of these things. And it's a night game,
Yeah, dude. And I don't and save me, by the way, save me from actually preparing, because LSU just played Arkansas that had a very comparable idea of what they wanted to do with their quarterback and their offensive situation. Blake Baker didn't have his best shining moment in the second half of the game. I know that he was put in a bad and less than great advantageous situation, but your inability to have your players running into correct gaps on specific offenses should happen whether or not it's Connor Wigman or your godchild at quarterback. I don't care who it is. Like, that was just bad, and it was not helped because Garrett had the worst game of his career and absolutely peed down his leg. However, it's inexplicable. But Vegas does not know who is going to start. So I think I kind of said that and realized it, but I think that's why the number is what it is. But I agree with you. I think that South Carolina could absolutely keep this game close. But you and I both know that Texas A&M is a better football team.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I'm more interested in that game.
Sure.
Just like I am with Georgia, Florida. Now, we got honestly 2 comparable games here. Georgia, Florida. I believe that game's always a neutral site game. Mm-hmm. And then we've got Kentucky, Tennessee, which, I mean, Tennessee's kind of been inconsistent all year long. Kentucky has been that team that is the same way, but always finds its way into these big-time games. What are your thoughts on either of those games? Do you expect anything crazy to happen? Do you think we have any close games here, or what are your opinions and thoughts?
Tennessee's better than Kentucky. Kentucky can't do anything consistently. I don't think that should be a hard game for Tennessee, but I've seen the game get weird and get heated. And I also think that Florida, now that Graham Mertz is no longer on with the team playing, unfortunately due to injury, I think they now have a consistent motion of where they want to go. And Napier's starting to put them in the right direction of, hey, look, let's at least, if we can't be great, can we at least just be consistently regular? Mm-hmm. And being consistently regular has you at a 14.5-point spread on the road. If this game was at home, I'd feel a little bit better about them keeping it close. I think Florida's actually better than we want to admit. But I think that Georgia 1,000% should win this game by 2 touchdowns. But it's the hook that worries me. I don't love 51.5. That's a very weird number for me. I would have preferred either 48 or like 53. Like let it like bait me into it. 51.5 is like the most odd. I don't want to touch that number possible. So
yeah, just thoughts to closing out the the SEC talk. I mean, quick reaction. Boise State is up 21-0. Nothing from Ashton Johnson, though. That's unfortunate. We've got, obviously, Oregon and Michigan going to the Big House at 2:30, 14.5 points.
Dude.
I mean, I feel like that's an opportune betting spot. I haven't really paid close attention to Michigan, but I just feel like their defense is good enough to keep them within every game. So to me, I feel like, I get Oregon's good, but at home in the big house, you're giving me 14.5 points. I just don't know how you can't take that. I don't know. Quarterback stats look horrible for
I don't know, dude.
This dude playing three touchdowns, 6 picks. I just how many points do you realistically expect Oregon to score against Michigan's defense? I don't think they've given up more than 27 to Washington this year. So let's just say they give up 30. Let's just call it 30 points. Do you think Michigan's capable of scoring 2 touchdowns against Oregon?
Yeah.
Then we've got a nail biter right there just based on that logic. Now, if Oregon comes in, Dylan Gabriel comes in and struts their stuff, we've got a different story. I just don't think that's the case, especially in the big house at 2:30. I love it. I love this spot here. Give me 14.5. The game opened at 15.5. The over-under is 44.5. I feel like that number's probably right on the money.
Right.
Give me the 14.5. If it was 14, I'd say maybe not. If it was 13.5, I'd say But give me that hook, dude. I love it. I love that spot. I just don't see how you can't bet that.
Interesting how 14.5 for Georgia and then 14.5 for Oregon feels so vastly different. You know what I mean?
No,
so that's just, I agree with that. And I think that kind of like sums up the way I feel about this week's slate. I had those 5 written down, or 6 rather written down. I don't think that there's any one team that's demonstrably better than the rest, and that's why it's so disappointing to see some of these games go the way that they have, because it seems like prime betting spot, and then it ends up just like happening almost exactly how we think. But the games that you never thought would happen was obviously the Arkansas-Tennessee situation, even though I did come out and say that Tennessee better chill and watch themselves against that. But it's the Heisman stuff that's really annoying, because I would think that a running back, like you would kind of get like an exhaustion from having, the quarterbacks and the receivers. I thought that maybe a running back would have been of that caliber would have been kind of the mode. Twitter has a lot to do with the hype of Heisman, so I kind of thought maybe he'd have a little bit more juice. So I don't know.
I still think he does. I do think a lot of it's just based on team success, in my opinion. I think Miami's the number 5 team in the country. They're undefeated, right? Who do they play? Who have they played? I know you can make the same argument about Boise State, but did you expect Boise State to be undefeated, or not undefeated, but like the number 15 team in the country preseason? Or did we come out here with one of the best quarterbacks transferring to Miami with a very below average schedule and has eked out several of these games? Like I get it, where he's calm in these big situations. I get it. It's just like, why are you struggling against Virginia Tech? Why are you struggling against California? Why are you struggling against Louisville and these shootouts of games? Some of it's not his fault. I get it, but to me, if I had a comparison between them two, I'm giving it to Ashton. Now, Travis Hunter is a different story because we haven't seen someone like him in forever. A really solid 2-way player,
but the team's not good. So then it's.
They're. What do you mean? They're great this year. I think that's part of the reason why he is the favorite right now. They've only got 2 losses this year. To me, they're 6-2. They've got to play Texas Tech, Utah, Kansas, Oklahoma State. Very winnable games. I think he kind of fades with a loss. I think Cam Ward fades with a loss. And to me, it comes down to Dylan Gabriel and Ashton. And I think
we're standing strong with Ash, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think he's like plus 450 to 500. So he's not like incredibly out of it. It's just, I think he had a bye week and then he had a below average game for him, which was still 126 yards. He's got 9 carries for 28 yards right now. The team's up 21-0, and the second quarter had just started. And he's also got 2 catches for 31 yards. So, I mean, he's got plenty of time if the team decides to play him in the second half. That's also been an issue with him as well in these games that are blowouts. They bench him. So, to me, I think he's got plenty of time. If he can get up to 120 again, maybe throw in another touchdown or two, I think he's right there. And I don't know what was the record. Barry Sanders has the record.
I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I know it's a crap load.
Let me look it up. 2,053. So right now,
that's quite a bit.
I get it, but we are. Let's see. We are 7 games in. They're playing their 8th right now. So he'll have 4 more after this. Currently, as it stands, he has 1,376. Okay. So let's do the math. 2,000. Oh, wait. Maybe I am wrong. Hold on. Maybe it was 2,600. If 2,600, then I don't think he's catching that. Because that's freaking crazy. I know it's crazy. It's crazy. Crazy. It was a crazy number. I mean, it was incredible. Barry Sanders record.
I feel like at some point I memorized this, but over the years nobody came even close. So it was.
Okay.
I mean,
it was 26-28. Because Jesus Christ, yeah, that's a lot. I don't think he's gonna touch that. But damn, he's gonna be really close. I mean,
and what's he at right now?
He's at 1,376, not including this game. This will be the 8th game. They played 12, correct? So he'll have.
He would need postseason play, dude.
I mean, the crazy thing is, Barry did it in 11 games, which is freaking psychotic. 28-0 now, but not him. Anyways, I mean, outside of that, we've got a really good week of college football. I want a bow tie on this. Did you see the article today by Greg Sankey on how they're going to start policing the
I have not seen it.
heinous injuries?
No.
So basically, what they're going to do is they assign some kind of director. I believe his name is Steve Shaw. He's the national coordinator of football officiating. So basically, each play where a fake injury, quote unquote, might have occurred must be submitted to the SEC for review. The Steve Shaw guy is going to determine what constitutes a fake injury. So basically, he's going to review or have his team review anything that could be considered a fake injury. And if it is, the first offense is a head coach receiving a public reprimand and a $50,000 fine. A second offense is another reprimand and a $100,000 fine. And for the third offense, another reprimand, and the coach will be suspended for his program's next game.
They finally did what we were saying, bro. We freaking talked about this a month ago. A fine, and then you're suspended a game, period.
I have mixed reactions. I mean, I think it's good that we have something. I don't know how you stop this problem even with this, though, because now it's going to be, you've got to be a really good actor. Now, this definitely eliminates the bullshit, like, obvious ones where, like, the coach is either yelling from the sideline and they're late to do it. So, like, this.
No, I like this, dude.
So it eliminates that, and I agree. It's tough to police this, so I'm glad we have something at least laid out. But really, this constitutes one team and one team only, and that's Ole Miss. I mean, 3 weeks ago, they literally said they were going to address suspicions of this and then proceeded to do it every single game. And it's crazy, man, because, like, this really does suck for people that get hurt. I mean, in Tiger Stadium, someone from Ole Miss actually really got hurt, and they got booed out the stadium. It's probably not a great feeling for them, and I'm sure these kids aren't choosing to do it. Obviously, it's coming from the sideline, but I'm glad they did institute this. I don't really know, how it's going to work. Obviously, we'll have to see what the judgments are, going forward in the next couple of weeks. I think it'll still be hard to like actually accuse someone of it unless it's dead clear. And finally, bow tying on this, thoughts on the rumors of my boy Bryce Underwood getting a pretty parallel offer from his hometown, Michigan.
I mean, they obviously are going to offer him money, but I don't know I don't know that there's any real concrete things to go off of that he's been telling recruiters and people that that are close to the situation that there's any hesitation of him like wanting to go there. However, I could easily see them bumping the number up by another million and then him actually doing it. I mean, these kids are getting offered life-changing money now, so who's to say?
Yeah. Well, that's it, man. I just wanted to run those things by. We really didn't do. Like I said, Trey's been really busy this week, so this is like an actual live episode, even with the technical difficulties. But that's how we like to do it. I think it's better that way. I like being on here while we discuss these things. So, and time really flies because like I feel like I could talk another hour about this based on where we're at right now, but we're not going to do that. Shout out to Navy for their good run of being undefeated. Obviously, came to an end last week. And then, obviously, we'll see next week. Next week will be a big episode with Alabama coming into town and a must-win game for both teams. So, looking forward to next week. But check out the Twitter for the betting plays. I'm gonna put out a damn good card this weekend. I feel like I'm gonna go undefeated this weekend with some of these spots that are on here this weekend. So stay tuned for that, and we'll try and have a good weekend of that, and we'll see you next week.